Hi guys, and how are you doing? Really privileged to have you tune in for another session with me, Stephen Gillen. Here at Publicity Hound and the studios that I have, we get the game changers, we get the innovators, we get the leading lights in business across diverse industries. You know, and today we're not going to disappoint again. I've got an amazing guy in here. He's a keynote public speaker around the world. He's spoken for some of the biggest companies out there. He's a real innovator, a real game changer. And what he has to say relating to businesses, brands, companies out there, and people who really want to progress across markets in this uncertain time is really something that needs to be heard. He's got some real value to give you guys today, you know, and I'm really privileged to have you, Cris Beswick. Cris,
pleasure. Thanks, Stephen.
Great for having you in here. Quite a fanfare.
I'll take that intro. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it's all look credit where it's due. I've had some real illustrious people in this seat, and anyone who sits in that seat, they're an amazing person in some way or the other, right? You absolutely are. For people out there, introduce who you are, Cris, and what you do, please.
So, yeah, thank you. My name's Cris Beswick. I'm a keynote speaker, a best-selling author, and more importantly, a strategic advisor on innovation. So I work with CEOs and boards and executive teams of some of the biggest companies in the world, helping them build true, genuine innovation cultures.
Pay attention, because this is core. I kid you not, it's one of them core things that translates to the beating heart of success, wealth in companies, diverse industries. Tell us a little bit what makes you really, really special. I know you're around all the top CEOs. They pay you a lot of money to come and teach them this stuff, Cris. So tell us about some of the specialized stuff that you do.
Yeah, so I think the thing that's different, I mean, I'll take special all day long, but the thing that is absolutely different about what I do and at the level that I work at with the clients that I work at is if you need to drive growth in an organization, so a big complex corporate, so think of some of the biggest brands in the world, the biggest companies. When you get an organization like that, they're complex. So theory around innovation and the theory of how you drive growth and change culture doesn't serve any purpose. What I bring is, and why I get asked to go into organizations, is pragmatism. So real, pragmatic, what's going to work inside the organization? How do we change the way we lead that organization? How do we build the right strategy? Not pie in the sky, not theory, real impact, real shift in culture, and ultimately, to the point you just made, how are we really, really going to drive growth?
Yeah, and this is diverse industries. Yeah. You know, we're really getting into the clever business stuff. It's clever, but it's more than that. It takes a real understanding of business and how that translates in all the business function areas, but it takes a real talent and a real insight. So there's something there. I understand this in the way that I do, and I'm really interested in that, because this is what makes you really, really unique in the market and a guiding light within this stuff. So tell us some of the hardships that people are getting, or some of the myths, and how you've shattered these myths and what it's really about, Cris.
So there's quite a lot of myths. There's a lot of false narratives around innovation in the corporate world. Some of it is, well, should we approach innovation top down? Is it a leadership thing that we push through the organization? Is it bottom up? Is it just about asking our employees for ideas? And the reality is it's neither of those. In my experience and all of the work that I've done, innovation happens in the middle of an organization. We shift cultures in organizations from the middle out. One of the other myths is, and the false sort of journeys that corporates go on is, we've got to be radical, we've got to be disruptive, you know, we've got to really turn the whole sector on its head. That's super risky, super expensive, really dangerous territory. If you're lucky as a big complex organization, you might find an idea once in a blue moon that really transforms your sector or your organization. But that's not a repeatable capability. What organizations have to build is the ability to consistently and regularly solve problems, come up with new ideas, come up with new products, and have enough agility and adaptability to respond to the way that the world unfolds and changes. And that, at its core, that's what innovation capability is really about.
You see, it's really interesting, but this is what's so valuable, what you do, pinning it to the post. I'm a very pin it to the post guy. You know, I get all the clever stuff, but really, and you see all the people you work with, they're the same as us. All right, I get all the clever stuff, but tell me, what is it? And show me. Let's get down to it. Yeah. Let's get down to the bare bones of it. And if you're so good, you'll give it to me in one sentence. I don't need a 50-page statement to convince me or anything like. I'm very much that guy. You know, I know you are too, and a lot of people at the top, they're very much, because we've seen it every which way. But I say that because, you know, this innovation, this buzzword innovation is another thing. Oh, we're all using innovation. It's kind of a cool word. Yeah, we're innovating. And really, half the people, they don't even really understand what that word is in a business sense, or how that needs to be, or how you use that certainly as a tool to do what it says and what it's actually meant to do. Yeah. What do you say about that, Chris?
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right. The core thing here is, as an organisation, if you genuinely want to drive innovation, forget adding it into your values, forget using it as a buzzword. Yeah. Don't give the word to marketing and get them to throw it here, there and everywhere, right? So it's easy to, as an organisation, it's easy to self-profess that we're innovative. But innovation for me is about outcomes and impact. So if, as an organisation, if you are genuinely innovative, give me some numbers. What's the return on all of that investment in innovation? So for every dollar that you spend on innovation, how many dollars do you get back? Whether that's top line growth, bottom line growth, innovation is about solving problems that hold the organization back. Whether that's a need to drive growth, or whether that's a need to be more efficient, or solve really sticky customer problems, all of it should translate into impact and growth.
There you have it, guys, and there's just one little bit. This is quite a detailed area, but Chris is really giving you the goods here, condensing it. So here's another question. Not everyone out there is a big high-flying corporate, multinational, and all of that. But I know that this translates even to the smallest SMEs. If you understand these principles, it's going to get you forward, earn you a lot more money, place you in the market as an influencer, with authority, all of this stuff, a lot quicker, right? Yep. So how would it translate to someone further down the scale? What kind of things could they do to get the best out of it when we're talking about this word, innovation, and what does it mean to them?
So innovation's agnostic. So the innovation as a capability that an organization has is agnostic. And what that means is you can be a car manufacturer like Mercedes, you can be a pharmaceutical company like Roche or Novartis, you can be a bank like Lloyds or ING. The reality is you will all have problems, you will all have opportunities, you will all have challenges that need solutions, that need different thinking and different solutions. And that translates right down to the small business MD with 20 employees doing a couple of £1 million a year, just as it does a global bank doing £1 billion a year. Every organisation has challenges around efficiency, challenges around driving growth, a whole host of challenges. It's just the scale that's different. And innovation is about your organisation's ability to solve those problems and to solve those challenges and capitalise on opportunities. So whether you're a £20 million a year company or a £20 billion a year company, innovation's a capability that you all need.
It's well explained, and you see so many people get this wrong, but it's actually a great aid, a tool, an addition to what everyone's trying to do. If you can understand and be intelligent enough to learn from experts like yourself, for me, it's really easy. I've always got the best people around me in the field of whatever. Say, how does it work? Tell me how you do this wonderful stuff, so we can add it to what we do, and that only makes us more powerful, influential, better at what we do, so we can serve as well. Yeah. So look, we've got all this stuff, and thank you for that. But who is Cris Beswick? This is the question. He's in the house, right?
Chris
right
is
now,
in the house.
right? He's in the house. No, seriously, very cool guy. Got an amazing backstory. Come from a tough place, like myself. But that's for you to say, Chris, what you want to say on that. Tell us a little bit about where you come from and all of this stuff and how it was for you to get you to where you are today.
Yeah, look, I'm a regular guy, Joe Average, no different than everyone else out there. Grew up in and around Manchester, so originally from the northwest. Didn't do great at school. Took a few wrong turns, went down a few wrong paths, as it were, but was self-aware enough to realise I needed to change location, change the scene that I was in, change the people that I was surrounding myself by, surrounding myself with, and was fortunate enough to say, let's just go down the education route. Let's get out of Manchester. Let's try and get some kind of qualification. So I was fortunate enough, I put myself through university, got a degree, and 20, 30 years later, here I am, flying around the world, working with some of the most amazing people and organisations on the planet. So, determination, a bit of grit, belief, a huge amount of self-belief, and really a belief that through things like innovation and creativity and thinking differently, the world's your oyster, whether that's as an individual or whether that's as a company wanting to really drive growth and shape the future.
That's great, and it's quite a humble explanation of it all. Of course, there's a lot more in there. Yeah. Chris was a really tasty Muay Thai kickboxer back in his day. He admitted that bit, right? The rest I'll leave to your imagination, of where, being involved in that world, of course, all of us, where that can or may not lead you along the path. The important thing is, what I always say, Chris, is that life doesn't give us what we want, it gives us what we become.
Yeah.
It really does.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
It really does. It hardly ever gives us what we want, but it's not about that. Because for me, when I focused on what I liked or what I wanted, it always went bad for me. It's not about that. It's about duty. It's about, it's about obligation.
Yeah.
It's about living life on life's terms. It's about having fun.
Yeah.
It's about improving every day, right? And being the best that you can be.
Yeah.
And it is about giving.
Yeah, but those are all choices, right?
They're all choices. It's the structure of our choices that creates the architecture of what our next move is.
Yes.
And how successful we're going to be. Or fail, of course. That's really it. Without going into that's what I believe. What did you say to that? I know you deal with a lot of really high-flying people.
The key is, and you just touched on it, to some extent, you have to be prepared to fail. And, we see this play out in organisations. So some of the clients that I advise, the companies that I work with, the whole notion of risk, and do I take risk, and do I make a choice that means that's really, really safe and I'm just going to go that direction? Or do I make another choice that might mean I'm going to need to take a bit of risk, but if that works, that's going to be an amazing direction to go down. And I see it through the decisions I've made and some of the risk that I've taken as an entrepreneur, starting companies, having to fund those companies, and a leap of faith, but it's a belief that this will work, but it's still a risk. And I see that same attitude to risk and choices being played out in organisations that want to innovate, but just aren't brave enough to make different choices.
Now, just saying again, guys, Chris is a world-renowned expert in this area, in this field. And, I know you've got a book there, Chris, as well.
Yeah.
But a bestseller, of course. Tell us about the book. Let people out there know, because there's a lot of value in this book, and this is the one. This is the guy, all right? Get the book. But tell us about the book.
Yeah. So look, Building a Culture of Innovation, written by two amazing friends of mine, Derek Bishop and Joe Garrity, and we wrote this really in response to our publisher saying, look, there's hundreds and hundreds of books around the world on innovation. A lot of them all about the theory of innovation and how you innovate as an organization. And all the response from all of the questions we ask our readers is, give us a book that's really practical. We know we need to innovate, but how do we do it? And we wrote this as a response to that. This is a snapshot of what I do in corporates around the world. This is the framework that organizations need to follow to genuinely embed, to build the capability to innovate and then embed it into the heart of their organization, to build it into organizational culture. This one's for you, by the way. I've signed that one.
Oh, thanks. Look, and I'm wise, I'm open to learn from the right people. Not idiots who are going to waste my time. Life is too precious, really, but always open to learn from people who have a gift to give me. Yeah. It's certainly one of their moments, Cris, with you, because the need for innovation, I'm getting it, but what does it actually mean? What do we need to be doing with that to get the best out of it? These are the questions that I ask.
And that's all in there.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt.
This is no theory. This is practical, pragmatic solutions based on 20 years of doing this with companies around the world.
I'm in. That's what I'm into. I have no time to waste, right? You've got the gold standard on there.
So Amazon bestseller. It was voted management gold by the Chartered Management Institute. So, it's been recognised as having real value for any organisation, not just a corporate. We've talked about corporates. This is for the government. This is for the public sector. It's for charities, for non-profits. All of those. Whether you're for-profit, non-profit, you're still an organisation with people and challenges and the need to drive growth and create revenue and solve problems. And building the right kind of culture and a culture of innovation is how we do that.
Look, it's really good. There's one more question that I would ask you. Look, it's very uncertain times for all of us, right? Especially the way the markets are contracted and all kinds of stuff, right? The usual stuff, but it's to a very extreme nature at the moment, the way things are spinning. I know people, certainly in this country, even in the UK. So how does what you do, in the book for instance, right, innovation and all that stuff really, how does this really help people now and how can they use that to chart what is a testing time, Cris?
So at its core, right at the heart of innovation is the ability to understand more about the world than you did yesterday. To ask bigger, more difficult and more valuable questions, and then be able to chart a course towards solving those problems or navigating complexity or navigating a certain situation or the turbulence that you just talk about. And that is a capability, it's a muscle we need to build as organizations. And the book really is about building that muscle. So yes, times are turbulent. Yes, there's always uncertainty. But the more skills and the more capability we build to be able to deal with uncertainty and navigate complexity, that's how our organizations not just survive, but that's how they thrive. And that predominantly is what innovation is about as a core capability.
And I love this. I really do. It resonates with me, right? I'll tell you why. Because it's one of them really cutting-edge, leading wisdoms. The Art of War, for instance, I love that, son. So it's one of my favourite books. Not just because it's not just you apply these really winning strategies to big theatres of war, but in some of the smallest nuances of challenges of the day, right? You incorporate some of these wisdoms, it get you through the gate. It'll give you the right answers. It'll clear the field. And there's one bit in it, I always say about this convoluted thing, right? But with people all convolute and worry and this one and that one, all that, he says, do not think whether the enemy is coming or wonder when the enemy is coming. Rather concentrate one's efforts on making oneself invincible. And that's the thing. So you're playing it forward. You're saying, whatever. I mean, what's going to be is going to be. I'm not worried about that because the order of the day is I make myself as strong as possible, as healthy as possible. I sort my own house out first. And then one, we're more equipped to deal with everything. Two, we're going to be winning more. And three, this is definitely the right answer, okay? Right? To put my time, resources, energy into. And this...
That's what that's about.
That's what I'm saying. You see, people wouldn't understand that about innovation because this word has been diluted so much, Cris. But really, here's the power of it, guys. And that's what I see. It's something that's leading edge where if you really understand it and incorporate it now, then you're using it correctly. And it's a powerful thing not just, oh, I'm doing something cool and, you know, we're doing something a bit different, a bit fresh. Innovation's not about that, guys. Here's the world-leading expert, Cris Beswick, giving you just a little invitation into his world and how this stuff really works. Where can people get hold of you, Cris? I know you're all over the place, but where should they get hold of you?
Super visible on LinkedIn. There's, for anyone that may have seen the cover, there's no H in my name, so it's Cris, Beswick, Cris Beswick. LinkedIn, any of the usual formats, but LinkedIn's dead easy to find me on. Yeah,
you're very active on there. I mean, you know, you've got amazing websites and all this.
Yeah, the website, chrisbeswick.com.
Oh yeah. And I mean, we're doing some great work as well. We can say that, you know, we're doing some great work together, and we're developing some great work. It's a real privilege for me as well to be, you know, working with people like Cris as well. And it's to really change things in the future, as always for us, like-minded people, to lift people up, you know, and elevate them and everything else, and make things better, Cris. So, look, top man, it's been great having you. We've had a day together in the studio.
Yeah, we've had a great day today.
How have you found it?
Today's been superb. Look, you know, we've talked about this earlier today. When you do what I do, whether that's speaking, whether you're, you know, in boardrooms around the world, it's really important to continue to get that message out and get the right voice and the right tone of voice and the right visibility. And, you know, look, not to massage your ego, but working with you and the rest of the team here at Publicity Hound, you know, you're enabling me to continue this message, to continue to spread, you know, my mission, which is, I'm absolutely convinced if people and organizations genuinely put innovation right at the heart of what they do, then collectively we can shape the future. And the work we're doing together and the visibility that you give me, superb. So today's been a fantastic day, and I'm only sad that today's nearly over.
Oh, that's very kind of you. You know, you're a top fella. So there you go, Cris Beswick. Really, I tell you what, as a guy you want to look up, you want to change things and be really clever with what you do. This is something that you want to get into. Have a look at what he does. You know, you've got the book there again. I'll put it up again because I want to give a gift to you guys. I know the difference between some really skilled, top echelon people we get on here that really change things for people. And this is one of them, guys. All right. So lots of blessings to you. Thank you for tuning in again. Of course, there's a lot of stuff out there about me, Stephen Gillen. I have my own book out there, Extraordinary, The Search for a Life Worth Living. If you're interested in that, and got a lot of really great content still coming on the channel. Do let us know if there's anything specifically that you want us to get into, anyone specifically you want us to interview, or any content that you would like us to shape. Lots of blessings to you. Take care. Be lucky.